Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel once again for another brand new Star Wars The Black Series action figure review. Today we're going to be taking a look at a brand new release. This was just revealed the other week. We've got the Gaming Greats 2-pack featuring Darth Nihilus and Darth Treya from Knights of the Old Republic 2. So getting the packaging out of the way first, as you can see this is the standard Black Series box design for action figure 2-packs. We've seen these over the last few years as part of the Amazon exclusive range. It's got the bright blue colour motif across the band at the bottom, showing that this is part of the Gaming Greats subline. That's then also further demonstrated with the nice foil logo that we've got at the bottom right hand of the window, next to, of course, the character names of the figures included. In the background of the box, we've got a nice image of Malachor from the events at the end of Knights of the Old Republic 2. Turning the box around to the side, we've got the split mural art design associated with 2-packs, and they are then repeated in larger scale on the back of the box for you to enjoy. And then there's also a very brief write-up about the characters included in this set, followed by the Knights of the Old Republic 2 logo in the bottom right-hand corner. So we're going to take a look at Darth Nihilus first, as he is of course a repeat. We've had this character before in the Black Series, but it is very dated, and in fact the sculpt reused at the time was also very dated. So it's lovely to see an update, and I think this 2-pack was a great way of getting a newer version out there. As most of you guys will know, the news has come out within the last week or so that this guy heavily reuses the main body of the Revenge of the Sith Anakin Skywalker figure. You wouldn't know it, which is fantastic. It's reuse done right, in my opinion. There is also a little bit of reuse from the previous figure, as the head sculpt is carried over, and then the gloves have come from Dash Rendar. But again, it's executed flawlessly, and if the information wasn't available, I don't think people would really know at first glance. It's been done extremely well. The addition of soft goods and a new plastic overlay on the waist, they camouflage most parts of the existing tool, and it does feel like a fresh figure, and I'm very, very pleased to have this update. The head sculpt, whilst it is reuse, the paint apps are a lot crisper than the original in my opinion, and whilst it's not going to come across on camera, when you get this in hand you'll be able to see that the eyes have actually had a touch of gloss put on them. The original eyes were matte, so they've gone that extra mile to just add small details, which is great. Speaking of details, as you know, I normally cover those first, but this guy is mostly dressed in black fabric, so I'll try my best to have the details show up. As you can see, I'm having a little bit of trouble focusing on this guy because of the colour, but it's really, really well done. The arms are new, I think, and they've got that sort of Darth Vader style pinstriping sculpted in, and you can also see there's some very nice textures there, so long as the camera behaves. We've got the underrobe of the Revenge of the Sith Anakin just on display at the top there, but then that is quickly covered and accented by the new soft goods elements that have been included, that are then kept nicely in place by this PVC overlay piece of his belt, and the lower tabard there looking all weathered. Really, really nice. Whilst this guy does have Dash Rendar's gloves, it is worth noting that will mean he has a trigger finger and then just a basic grip. I would have really liked to see this guy have some force gesturing hands and maybe some force effects. Just some character specific accessories to mirror how you see him in the game. But that's not the end of the world. It's still a very worthy update. He only has one accessory, which is his lightsaber, and it is painted in a nice shiny silver this time, which is lovely to see, as recently we seem to have lost that in the Black Series. But compared to the previous release, there are some paint applications missing, which we'll have a look at when I compare both versions shortly. But it's a really, really cool figure, and I'm very happy to have it, as I said. I'll just show you under the robe, just so you can see the legs and boots of the previous released Anakin figure, just cast in a black plastic. But it gets the job done, in my opinion, as not only is that a well detailed figure, but it's also a very well sculpted and engineered one. So to have those factors carry over to this guy is an absolute bonus. Just show you the soft goods cape on the back there. It's nothing too special, but it is very nice fabric and it's quite lightweight. It holds a very good shape naturally, and I don't think it's going to trouble many people on display, which is fantastic to see. Hasbro have been doing an amazing job with soft goods over the last few years, and this is absolutely incredible. In fact, I think this 2-pack has got some of the best soft goods that Hasbro have ever done, and you'll see that a little bit later with Darth Treya. Okay, so taking a look at the new Darth Nihilus compared to the old version. The old version's on the left and the new one is on the right. As you can see, night and day difference. It really speaks volumes against the reuse of each figure. So the original used parts from Darth Maul and as a result had a very wide stance and didn't come across very menacing, where I feel like with the new figure using parts from Anakin, which is by comparison to the old Maul body super articulated, it's a lot more elegant and a lot more menacing on the shelf. And finally, I just want to compare the lightsaber hilts. As I previously mentioned, the new one is missing some paint applications that the original has. Whilst initially I thought the hilts were the same sculpt as well, the new one does appear to be just a touch longer and the sculpt is a lot crisper in detail, so it might actually be new. Whilst it's missing paint applications, I'm not too bothered by that. It is very minor, and to be honest, with recent releases having the dull grey plastic used, it is quite nice to see a shiny silver one. Okay, so we're just going to take a brief look at the articulation now, the majority of it being very similar to the Revenge of the Sith Anakin figure, but we'll have a look anyway. It's got a ball joint in the head and in the neck. Provides a great range of movement, especially with that sculpted hood piece there. So he can pose looking very sinister. Really, really good. He's got ball hinge shoulders as well as butterfly joints. There's a hinge and swivel at the elbow. There is a rotation at the boot. He's got ball jointed wrists, so very up to date in terms of Black Series technology. Love to see that. He's got a ball joint at the torso, but I would advise caution in moving that around too much just because of how these soft goods are overlaid there. And whilst I'm not going to move the skirt out of the way to demonstrate it, as his legs are exactly the same as Anakin's, he's got ball joints at the hips, he's got hinge and swivel at the knee, a boot rotation, as well as hinged ankles with rocker joints. So this guy's going to have no trouble getting into a variety of poses for your display. So taking a look at Darth Treya now, which is the main draw for most people with this set. Whilst Nihilus is a great update and well worth a spot in your collection, this one is a character people have been asking for some years now, so it's great to see Hasbro answer the call and put some new characters from Knights of the Old Republic into the Black Series. Now, just like Darth Nihilus, this figure is mostly reuse, although at first glance you wouldn't know it. It reuses the arms and the legs from Shakti, the legs by proxy also being reused from Aura Singh and Vice Admiral Holdo from some years before that. Now, the video game character is often like this, at least towards the end of the game when she becomes an adversary. She's clad in a dark robe, so it makes perfect sense for Hasbro to use some of the old tool and cover it in some soft goods. And as I alluded to when we looked at Nihilus, this is some of the best soft goods that Hasbro have ever done. So we're going to start off by looking at the details. We'll take a look at the main feature of the figure, considering it's predominantly reuse, and that's the head sculpt. It's absolutely fantastic and chocked with detail. You've got the crown piece around her head there, along with the sections that match that design, braiding her hair either side of the sculpt. Very, very ominous looking face there, very nice. lots of fine details, scarring and wrinkles, and the very beady looking eyes, I must say. It really does match the video game model quite well and bring it a little more closer to live action, I suppose, as Black Series is known to do. The back of the head is just a length of hair, but it's sculpted and painted very nice. But the soft goods is the main draw, as in the game her face is covered for the most part, and whilst you can have that sculpt on display, the soft goods are done in such a way that you can cover up her eyes and just have her mouth shown, just as the video game model is. And the soft goods lie incredibly well. In my opinion, the best soft goods that Hasbro have ever actually made for a figure. They lie exactly as they're supposed to. They look very, very natural. They are stitched on either side of the shoulder, just so the hood lies a little more naturally. But that's nothing that we haven't seen Hasbro take advantage of before. The soft goods do continue down the full length of the figure, with the only details being on display that of the upper robe section and the neck, and a small belt piece there. The rest of it is just this black fabric, but it's a very nice fabric, very soft, again, lies very naturally, and leaps and bounds better than some of the older stuff that we've seen over the years. I won't remove the soft goods, as I'm sure everybody knows by now what Shakti's legs look like. They lack a lot of detail, and when they've always been used, it is for the purpose of figures where the lower section is going to be covered. The hands on this are new, so we've got some force gesturing hands, which is very important to her character and the attacks of which she utilises in the game, which will lead us aptly into accessories. And here's Darth Treya displayed with her included lightsabers, along with the force effects that you can display them with. Fantastic job, Hasbro. Bravo. Well done for including these, as it's such a character-specific detail. Being a character in the game, trained in both the ways of the Jedi and the dark side, she doesn't necessarily have an affinity for lightsabers, and this is how she chooses to attack you. She'll use the Force to wield them and send them whirling at you. So it's great to see that Hasbro have done this. I'm just starting to play through the games, so this is something that I can't wait to encounter. Such a unique take on a Star Wars character and a Force wielder. So let's just take a look at one of the lightsabers. Now these have been reused from Shakti and Barriss Offee. It's a very standard lightsaber hilt, but you know what, it's a good match for the video game model, as I don't remember them having all too much detail on the renders of which I've seen. Each lightsaber has got a peg on it, although there's nowhere to store these, but I'm not sure where you'd want to store them other than on these cool effects. They all come with a purple blade, which is iconic to Darth Treya. The effects are all different sizes, so they are tiered, if you will, which makes for a very interesting display. It's just clear sculpted plastic. It's not all too hard either, so you can manipulate that piece at the end to put the lightsaber hilt in and take it out however you wish. It holds it very sturdy. It's not going to fall out, which is great. And they're just sculpted like air, like a force effect, I suppose. And you get 3 different kinds, as I've said. So this is the largest one. And then the middle of the 2. And you can just set those up around the character just to show her spiraling those lightsabers and getting ready to attack. Again, it's fantastic. I'm over the moon with this figure. And this is somebody that's not too familiar with this era of Star Wars. It's just such a breath of fresh air to have something so unique and so cool on the shelf. And it's really making me rethink how to organise my Old Republic era shelf to get these on there, because they've got to be on display. It's just such a home run of a set. This figure specifically, fantastic soft goods, head sculpt's incredible. Accessories, again, fantastic. This set, the only thing that I would have wanted was force effects for Nihilus, but given how they've represented Darth Treya's abilities here, I can forgive that. Fantastic job, Hasbro. Keep it up, honestly. I really hope we get some more Knights of the Old Republic characters in the line soon. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly run over Articulation. I'm not going to move the figure around a whole lot, so I apologise for those of you that want to see the range of it. I personally don't want to disturb the soft goods as it's set up very nicely. It's reusing parts from Shakti, so use your imagination. It's very simple to understand how the figure would move. It's got all your basic Black Series articulation. It's got a ball joint in the head and the neck, ball hinge shoulders with butterfly joints, hinge and swivel at the elbow. The wrists are on the old style joint, of which I will show you, which is the only strange factor really, as they are the roll of the dice type hinge, and I would have expected them to be more of an up and down motion given the nature of the force gestures that they've been posed in. But they still work, it's not an issue. They still look great when posed like so. There's a ball joint in the lower torso, hips are ball jointed, there's a thigh swivel and a double jointed knee, as after all this is reusing parts from an older figure. There's also a boot swivel, hinged ankles with rocker joints. And so that's going to do it for this review, everyone. Thank you very much for watching as always. Thank you for your continued support. Please head on over to Instagram, consider following me there. There's going to be a HD gallery of these guys to take a look at as soon as this video goes live. Hit subscribe down below if you haven't already. Leave me a thumbs up and I will catch you in the next review, whatever that may be. Thanks once again, guys. Take care and may the force be with you always.